Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Strap yourselves in for the Gaming Hub. Your hosts, Tyler.
You can't handle the truth!
Graham.
The force is strong in this way.
And Steven.
You cannot be serious!
Let's get started.
Alrighty.
Hey everybody, and welcome into the Gaming Hub. This is episode number 113. I'm your host Tyler, saying thank you so much for joining us. And joining us as always, alongside me are two co-hosts, starting with Graham. Graham, how are you doing, and what have you played this week?
Well, because what I've been playing, I'm doing pretty fantastic. Because, well, first I'll say other games I played. I played NHL 18 because we know we've been talking all about these tournaments, and I've been playing NHL, loving it. No Man's Sky actually came out for the Xbox. I jumped in on that one day. I actually streamed it too. I had a few people join in and say hi, which was greatly appreciated. Enjoyed that game thoroughly, but the game that really got me in a good mood is the NHL 19 beta came out yesterday, and I sunk my teeth into it pretty deep. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story, not too long of a story, but I was playing the beta today, and I was doing an ESHL drop-in game. And for anybody who's experienced this game at all, the beta, they know that every time you hit that right bumper, you're tripping somebody. Pretty much. You're pretty much guaranteed to be tripping. So there's a lot of tripping going on. So I tripped a guy for the third time, and yeah, I know. It's not like me either, so it's definitely the game. It's not me. So I tripped him for the third time, and then I got this message, you have been kicked for your team play, for being very low or something, however it was worded. So I don't know how I feel about this. I was enjoying the game. It was 1-1. I wasn't the only one getting penalties. So I wouldn't being that person just trying to ruin it for everybody, and I got kicked out of it. So I'm kind of torn right now. I'm not sure how to feel. What do you guys think about my my scenario here?
Personally,
Suck.
Yeah, personally I
It's not
like
my
it,
fault.
and it is you. It's not the game. You got to adjust and adapt, Graham.
Yeah, Graham.
I know, but it's such a
new.
big difference from 18 to 19. How can you expect someone to just turn off like that?
Well, that's what happens.
Well, it's better to learn in the beta than it is in the actual game.
Yeah.
So progress
true.
carries over, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, then you're good.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
I appreciate your optimism, which it's really strange, but thank you.
But yeah, I like the change. I think it's good. I think people spam. Graham's had the right bumper on the Xbox controller, which is for the poke check function, which people just spam in the past. And it was pretty hard to get a ton of penalties with it in the past. Although I've seen some people that managed to do it.
Yeah, when you got 3 times.
All the time.
I didn't even press anything, Tyler. Come on.
Not on my screen. But anyway. But no, quick story. We'd play with people that were like they're like they'd poke check at the guy and then be like, well, they'd trip him and get a penalty, and he'd be like, well, my stick wasn't anywhere near him, and I'd be like, okay, well then why'd you poke check in the first place? Like, if you're too far away to do anything, why hit it in the first place? But whatever. We're not going to go on and on and on about NHL 19. But the beta is out this week for anybody who's interested in that. It was a surprise announcement. Came out yesterday. Runs through August 2nd. So, and I'm guessing they normally extend it a few extra days just for fun. So my guess is they'll extend it through next weekend as well. But yeah, the beta came out and it was kind of surprising. It was like a fun surprise and some good news to wrap up the week. So, Steven, let's say hi to you and kind of tell us what you've been playing.
Yeah, I'm doing well. This week's been kind of tiring. Through mostly my own fault, starting the week off pretty dumb. But that's we're not gonna get into that. But I've started recovering, and mostly been playing Octopath Traveler. I'm now at 25 hours, which is crazy to me that I played so long. I'm in absolute love with the game, and I did play some NHL 19. And I'm not gonna lie, as someone who was kind of took NHL 18 off, I think we all kind of did. Yeah. NHL 19's been nice to get back in, and I'm kind of excited for the game. hopefully that doesn't change, pretty quickly into the game. But right now, I'm cautiously optimistic about NHL 19.
What I'll say, just real quick about it, is I love the feel and the flow to the game, and the what I played last night with you guys.
Yeah.
Like I love it. It feels much more fluid and just like, and the things that AI players do are much more like intuitive, just like hockey IQ wise.
Yes.
So yeah, I love it, and that does mean it's harder, but that's okay. So it's actually a good thing. But I like it. I played some of that, and I played some Madden as well. It's been a sports game kind of week for me, but I played Madden for a reason that we'll get into in a second. But man, I am rusty. In that game I haven't played for a while, and it shows. And I was just really off rhythm wise and everything else. And yeah, I'm hoping to be respectable here in the next week. So anyway, that's me. So anything else, guys, before we jump in? Nothing else we've been playing.
Let's get started.
Cool. Let's get rolling. So before we jump into news, just want to invite you, everybody out there, to join our community. And best way to do that, a couple different ways. Head on over to Facebook, look up the Gaming Hub forums there, and take part in that way. You can also, when you're there, find a link for Discord and join our Discord channel. A lot of good stuff going on there. We have some really good conversation going, and it's a lot of fun there. Two very different kind of things. It's weird. Like, Facebook has a totally different feel than Discord most of the time. Like, Discord's much more loose, I feel. But it's still, both are great and a lot of fun, and we take part in both quite a bit. So, we also have a Twitch channel. We're broadcasting live on Twitch right now. So you can head on over to Twitch and look up TXH Gaming Hub there. And again, TXH Gaming Hub. And hit follow, please. And we really appreciate that. But when you're there, you'll also get links to everything else right below the screen where the video plays, like Facebook, Discord, Twitter, etc. And last thing I want to remind everybody is the best place to get all your gaming news for Xbox is the xboxhub.com. We are the official podcast of that site. And you can also check out their sister site, the switchhub.com, for all the latest in Nintendo Switch news. So, if you'd like to help support us, we'd really appreciate that. And thank you so much to everybody out there who's helped support the show and the community through both Twitch and Patreon. But a couple different ways to do it. If you really like the show and want to help support us, that is go to Twitch and hit subscribe. And if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free sub to use every single month. And if you choose to use it on us, we'd be very, very grateful and appreciative. If not, use it on somebody. Help support somebody that's out there streaming and help them kind of reach their goals. So that's one way. And then also Patreon. We have a Patreon page. You can head over to patreon.com/gaminghub and take part there. We have lots of different rewards for people that take part there. We had a special episode, Steven, that we recorded last weekend that is Patreon exclusive for a few weeks about Blood, Sweat, and Pixels that we read. So that's up right now for patrons, and it'll be available to everybody in a few weeks. Also, you can get free t-shirts, stuff like that, and be entered for a monthly giveaway of a full $60 game that is exclusive to patrons. Patrons are the only ones entered in that, and those are the patrons at the $5 or above levels. So if you take part in that, you get entered for all that good stuff, and you get all that good stuff coming back at you. So, all right. With that, I want to talk real quick, guys, before we jump into news about the Madden tournament. That kicks off officially tomorrow. We're really excited. Steven's really excited about where he fell in the bracket.
Just so tough.
I drew a pretty tough matchup in the first round. I'm not going to lie. So I'd be pretty surprised if I advance beyond that. But we're going to give it a good try and see what happens. Like I said, I'm a little rusty at the game. And I know the person I'm playing plays a ton of Madden pretty much throughout the year. So he will not be rusty. And he messaged tonight saying that he's drafting tonight. So I hope that Viking Sully, that you get all like 65 overall players for some reason in your MUT draft. So, but everybody who joined, have fun, have a great time. We hope everybody kind of enjoys the experience. We got a full 16-team bracket, which is awesome. So we look forward to kind of seeing how that plays out here over the next week or so, and crowning a champion of our Madden preseason tournament, which is being played using Madden 18. All right. Now, guys, I think we can actually jump into news. Oh, one last thing really, really quick, and that is a listener out there, we have also a Minecraft realm that we made available to everybody in our community. We have some people sign up and join and build some really cool stuff already, which is awesome. But we got an email from a member of the community named Chase, and we just want to call it out real quick. Chase, if you're listening, got your registration, tried to send out the email, and it got kicked back to us. So please go take a look. Make sure you have the correct email address entered in so we can get you added into the realm to play some Minecraft. All right. Now let's head into news, guys. I'm all done with that. So it's time for you guys to talk a little bit.
In the news.
Starting off, we have news coming out of Xbox, and then more rumors than anything. But when we talk about Project Scarlett, which is the rumored next-gen console that we're supposed to see in 2020, there's a rumor now that one version of it, there's going to be multiple versions of this console, and one version of it is going to be a streaming-only box. No disk drive, no anything, just streaming. What do you guys think of this?
Well, it sucks for people that have data caps on their, internet, like you. You're probably not going to be picking this one up. You're probably going to go with the other rumored new Xbox, the one that it will act just like a regular console. But I do think this is a cool option for people that do have unlimited internet or just don't have data caps, that they want to save some money. They can still play all the games streaming from the cloud. I'd imagine there's going to be some hiccups. And it's going to be super noticeable when Xbox Live goes down, because you're not going to be able to do anything with it more than likely. Because, just yesterday, Tyler, we were having issues with the party chat. We couldn't get into a party together. In fact, all our menus were slow as heck. I didn't know what was causing that. So imagine what it's going to be like on a console that fully streams everything from the cloud. Because if that goes down, you can't play anything. And that's going to suck. But there will be people that pick this up, and you can save some money. I wonder what the specs are going to be like. I wonder what the cost is going to be like. I wonder how the games are going to run, and I'm excited to see more of this in the near future as we go into 2020 is what the rumor is.
Definitely lots of questions to be asked and answered, because like Steven said, price and the quality and stuff like this. And I forget the exact name of it, but PlayStation has something similar, a streaming service. And I've heard nothing but bad things about this, how it's laggy and just one issue after the other. So I know time has passed and people learn from other people's mistakes. So basically overall is they're not forcing you one way, when they're going to have the Xbox to always on, the whole internet blew up and people were just attacking Microsoft for this idea. So they're kind of going that way again, but they're but we're going to give them an option that they don't have to go with this streaming device. So I think they learned from their mistake that they're not going to force it, but they're going to give this option. And I think it's great for, people who are looking for the cheaper option. They don't care about it being in true 4K, native, that the Xbox console will offer. So there's definitely lots of questions out there to be answered, but I think it's a great idea. And like I said, there will be people with the data cap and stuff like that, which will not work for them. But like I said, they have another option. So I'm just curious, and like I said, it's going to be kind of a new thing they're rolling out, and the whole thing with Xbox Live going down, that could be pretty devastating. So they're going to have to support really good, and hopefully, I'm sure as time progresses, we'll learn more about this. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, real quick
go ahead.
before you go, Tyler. I don't think it's fair to compare it to PS Now.
No.
because PS Now is streaming old PS3 games and PS2 games, and Xbox has been working hard on this cloud computing technology. I think a fairer comparison is NVIDIA Shield, which is doing similar things and doing them pretty well. I don't know if it's speculated that it's not going to be true 4K, because honestly, why would they do it without that? Like, why would they offer it without
I agree.
4K? That's my thoughts.
Well, let me ask you guys this question, because you're right on, Steven. Like, I'm going to shy away from this based on the fact that right now I have a data cap. And there are plenty of months where I come in just under it, you know? But, and I think that's the case for more and more people every year. Like, this is the first time I've ever really had one. But that aside, let's assume that the mainline box is going to be $500 again. I think that's a fair assumption, don't you think?
I would think so.
Yeah. So, what should the price of a streaming console be? Because the hard drive isn't really going to be there that much, if at all. Obviously it's not going to have the disk drive in it. So, what should the price be for a streaming Xbox One to get you to say, yeah, I want that?
200, 250. I mean, if we're basing it off of the Shield, which I don't know if that's fully fair either, but the Shield's about 180. I just looked it up. So if the Shield's 180, it's probably going to have a little better technology than that. So I think 200, 250 is fair. At 300, I might as well drop the extra 100 or 200 or the extra 200 to get the full console. Like, that's my thoughts.
Okay, Graham, how about you?
Well, I was going to say 300, but I'm thinking 300 Canadian, so that'd probably be around 250 mark that Steven suggested.
Okay.
Because you do have to make it appeal, and then, like I said, if it gets to the part where it's like, okay, if I pay another 150 or 200, I can get the greatest console that's out there right now, or the best one at the time. So I think they gotta market it so that they still make it more appealing to people to get, especially if this is something they put in all this time and energy and make sure that it works fine. Mm-hmm. They want to make sure they get into the many consumers' hands as possible.
Sure. Yeah. But here, think about it this way for a sec. So let's assume the PlayStation 5 does what the PlayStation 4 did, and it's $400. I don't think it will be. I think it's actually going to be $500. But let's assume it's $400. Okay? And this is a way for Xbox to say, we have a cheaper version on the market. I think that thing's going to be $350. I think you guys are kidding yourselves. This is Microsoft we're talking about.
I just don't think that's enough.
I agree with you.
I think that's too much for what you're getting. I think it's going to be less. It's just purely speculation, obviously.
Steven, I think the lowest they go, and this, again, speculation by all of us, because we don't know anything, right? And we're not going to see anything at Gamescom. Highly doubtful. It'll be next year at E3 that will maybe get a peak.
I think more information will leak on it, though. I think we'll have more.
Little by little, sure. But I think the lowest they could possibly go, well, not could, but will, is $299 US. I could see that.
I think that's more reason. I don't know, really. I almost want to speculate and say this will be a console marketed towards people who have gaming PCs and that want a system to be able to play on their TV, streaming from their Xbox, the same as the NVIDIA Shield does. Yeah. So you have a gaming PC, and I think I've said this a couple times before on the show, or at least I've told you guys this before when we've been talking. Mm-hmm. I have a gaming PC, right? So if I could play all these games in 4K or pretty close to 4K right now on my PC, but I prefer playing on my couch on my big screen TV, as opposed to sitting on my gaming chair. But if I could connect my console to my PC and I download the games on my PC and stream straight from the like the Xbox streaming console onto the TV, that might be an option I'd look into, especially if it had Steam support. But that's just way out there. But that would be like my dream. I have a feeling it's closer to that though than. But I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much, considering there's not a lot of news on it. But I could see that being a case. The case.
So, do you require users of the streaming version to have Xbox Live? Because I would, and that's a way you could maybe keep that cost a little bit lower. Because
you'd almost have to.
Yeah, I think you do, and you're going to hopefully grow your Xbox Live user base at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, you get people to pay less up front and then kind of eat that monthly fee after that, or if they're smart, hopefully they do the 1 year at a time deal, because that's a lot cheaper, like less than half the price of paying month by month.
Yeah.
But, and by the way, that deal's still live right now, I think, right on the Microsoft Store, where you can get it for $40. So do that if you haven't yet. But yeah, I'm super intrigued, and I would actually be really interested if I didn't have a data cap, because wow, like that would be gone by like the 15th of the month.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, more and more companies are going to that. So I think it's going to be hard for, a lot of players to do this. Now, granted, a lot of players don't play as much as like we do. Right? I think most people play for like, a few hours a week. We're not that. We're online all the time. And sometimes we're not playing. We're just in party chat talking about the show or whatever, but we're still on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then you add into that the fact that people, I think now, especially like the younger generations, they consume all of their like television, quote unquote, through streaming devices much, much more than they actually get cable.
Yeah, I mean, I've cut my cable. I don't have cable anymore.
Yeah. So if you have a data cap, how much more do you want to add to that with streaming video games? Which isn't going to be a small thing, by the way.
No.
That's going to be taxing on that. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a great idea. And Graham, you don't have a data cap, do you?
No. I'd be in severe trouble.
Right? And
I would
Steven,
as well.
you don't. Yeah. So, like I said, mine is pretty generous. And I still am like right up against. I'm doing the math. Like even right now today, I did the math. Like, am I going to be all right? And yeah. I'm at the point now where I really can't download another game this month, or it's going to be an issue, right? So, but I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I think price is going to matter here. Price is going to matter a ton. And if they can get, people to come in at, or if they can get the console in, at, $250, I think that's great. And I think that goes a long way towards getting people on, that maybe have PlayStation this generation to get an Xbox next time. It maybe even just as a second console. But their goal is just to get it in people's hands. So.
Yeah. Like it seems like a part of this too is where they have like Game Pass and stuff like that, where like it's digital media, right? It's not physical.
Yep.
So it really does appeal to that stuff, and it can definitely help drive their subscription numbers up for games like that. And who knows, like with EA Premium, Origin Premium, whatever that was called, like that could be something that will be introduced along with this console as well.
Yeah, and Graham, I think you bring up a great point there. Maybe unintentionally, but I think
it usually is.
I think the hook there is to get people in so that they take advantage of those subscription models that Xbox has now, both Xbox Live and then Game Pass and other stuff, because that's where they're really going right now, isn't it?
Yes.
So if you get people in those subscription models, then that's where you're really kind of making the money from a company standpoint. And the gamers are pretty happy too, because they get a lot of stuff to play. So maybe you come in low with price just to get people, into that model. What do you think, Steven? Just to wrap this up, I'll give you the last word on it.
Yeah, I still think 350 is a ridiculous number. I think it'll be closer to 250. At your point of getting people in.
Yeah.
But I guess, the future will tell us.
Yeah, I've gradually talked myself out of 350 as we've talked through this, but at the same time, we kind of convinced ourselves that, the Scorpio at the time or the 1X was going to be $400, and it wasn't. It was $500. So you never know. You just never know what they're going to do. And if the base console is $500 with the drive and everything and the hard drive, then, man, maybe 350 is where they'd come in with that streaming one. Who knows? I hope not. Yeah. But we'll see as it plays out. All right.
Yes, we will.
Graham, restrain yourself. We're going to talk about Fallout.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay. So the Fallout 76...
Oh, my God. Oh, sorry.
The Fallout 76 beta, Graham, is coming in October. Just for you.
Just for me. I appreciate that.
Well, maybe not just for you, because it's going to start out pretty small. So you might not be in right away.
Maybe not, but I've increased my chances by pre-ordering it twice. So maybe if I pre-order a few more times, it might...
Part of me thinks you would.
Play the odds. Now, if I was told, Graham, if you buy it one more time, you are guaranteed to be in that beta, probably would buy it again. But, I would give it away, though, after, because I'm a nice guy like that. But I'm kind of selfish, when I want to get in on that beta and try it out.
Yeah, so here's the thing that I want to point out first, before we start talking about it.
Okay.
There's a lot of, I don't necessarily want to say hysteria, but that's the word that comes to mind at the moment. There's a lot of that out there that, not everybody gets to play the beta. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pre-order the game, you're going to get to play the beta, but they're going to roll it out slowly. So that not everybody that has access to the beta is in on day one of it. But as they roll it out, which will probably be over the course of days, not weeks, then more and more people get added and get access to the beta until everybody has access to the beta. So everybody calm down. You're going to get to play.
Okay, I'm calm.
Okay, thank you, Graham. But that brings me to the other question I want to ask. And this is where I kind of want to hear what you guys think. This is coming out in October, the beta, and the full game comes out, November 14th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no doubt this is just a stress test. This isn't anything where they're going to rewrite code or do anything to fix anything in the game. Because that game has to go gold and be sent off to be printed on disc, at minimum 2 weeks before it launches. And I know there'll be a day one patch. Steven, I want to go to you first on this.
Yes.
But I know there'll be a day one patch. But given that they've never done a game like this before, is it really the right thing to do to just basically do a stress test and not really kind of check and see how what they've came up with works?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to speculate here too much, but so much for their, what did they call the beta? Break everything, test anything, or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So how are you going to say that and then release the beta 3 weeks before the game comes out, or really more like a month? But it's like what Battlefield 3 did. I just remember that one. And that game came out 2-3 weeks before the full game came out. And the game was it looked terrible.
Yes, it did.
And the sandbags were so cartoony. I remember that. And I still bought the game because I'm it's a beta. And I was young and dumb back then. And then the game comes out and it's the same issues. And people were saying this is going to be the full game, and I didn't listen because I'm dumb and naive and 18 and whatever I was. And the game came out and I was I regret this. I'm not saying it's going to be like that. I'm just saying, how are you going to say that's what the beta stands for, and then, but it's not really what the beta stands for? You're server testing. You're testing loads because there's going to be a million people wanting to play this on day one, and I still would put my money on there being issues on come launch day, because there's always issues come launch day with games like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost always. Yeah. Diablo, Sea of Thieves just recently.
Yeah.
There's any online game has server issues at the beginning. So, yeah, there'll probably be a day one patch, and yes, some bugs found in the game could potentially be patched, but I don't know if that's because of the beta. I imagine there's gonna be a lot of like testing involved behind the scenes, as we talked about.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, in Blood and Pixels, they mentioned that. I feel like, I'm not saying they lied to us, but it just seems.
Yeah, I don't think they lied. I just think that.
I don't know. I wouldn't even call it false advertising, but it just you implied a certain thing, and then this implication, you know, the beta coming out so soon or so close to the full game coming out, tells a different story. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that before I get too much hate mail.
Yeah. Yeah. The Gaming Hub Podcast at gmail.com, by the way.
Yeah, my name's Steven, spelled with a V.
Yeah. So, Graham, before I turn over to you, because I know you're ready to defend right now, and you've got your sword and your shield.
Don't speculate what I'm going to say. You wait and see.
But I just want to kind of say first, before I turn over to you and hear your thoughts on this, like, Bethesda games are known for having bugs. Yes. To the point where they've actually kind of made fun of it at E3 this past year on stage. So, do you think this is the right thing to do? Would you rather see this in September? Not because you want to play it earlier, but because it gives them time to actually fix some things.
Oh, 100%. Like, when I read the news that it's coming in October, I was like, whew, really? Like, that is really close to its release, especially for what they're proclaiming for the beta to be, that it's not actually a beta. It's for something you to destroy and break, and they put it back together because it's broken. So if it turns out that that's what kind of product it is, that it's broken and it needs to be fixed and all that stuff, then I don't think they've allotted themselves enough time to fix it. So, and I don't know if they're like thinking, oh, I can break even when we launch it and we'll just fix it then. Like, that's a terrible idea. But, like, it seems like, why are they releasing this, like, the beta so close to its release? Like, I do feel like this should be, like, a longer window. Like, an example right now could be NHL 19 beta. Like, this is July, like, the end of July, and this game is not coming out till September. So that gives them a lot of time to fix certain things that they need to fix.
To be fair, Graham, that's exactly the same amount of time. Because, I mean, let's assume that the follow-up beta comes out, like, first week of October. Because they didn't specify.
Yeah, okay,
right?
If we say it's right away, yeah.
So if it's first week of October, that gives them 6 weeks. And right now, we're 6 weeks out from NHL launching.
Okay.
So
maybe that's not a fair comparison, just because this is, like, an online, full-blown, like, it's... Like, Nintendo's kind of like, or not Nintendo, NHL is kind of like restricted to like a hockey game, right? So it has certain parameters and stuff like that. Yeah. But a big open world thing like Fallout 76, there is a lot of areas where there could be errors or bugs or whatever.
Well, and I think the better compare and contrast there, Graham, is that, you know, the team at EA that makes NHL games, EA Canada, they've made NHL games before.
Yeah.
Many that years. Have the same online functions that this one does. Bethesda, as great as they are one of the best game developers out there right now. Maybe the best. Okay, there's an argument to be made for that. But they've never done this before. So I always worry when a beta is just weeks before the launch and not a couple months out. Like, do you guys remember when the Halo 5 beta came out?
Yes.
No.
Like, it was like 6 months, wasn't it?
No, it was longer than that. It was in January, and the game came out in October.
Yeah.
Like, that's legit giving yourself time to make adjustments, fix things that are wrong in the game, and evaluate stress tests and things like that, right?
So yeah. I had a I'm not calling it epiphany, but I did realize something. So, you know, we talked about Blood and Pixels on our, you know, special Discord episode. And Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, I should say.
Yep.
And they talk about, like, testing games heavily throughout the book, like every chapter by chapter. But I realized, like, you can't test games based on a 2-hour play session, because there are bugs that might activate on late game quests or just crazy things. So I don't think this is bug testing. I think this is server testing, and
Absolutely.
I also think this is balance testing. I think they're gonna have people, like, they want to know how terrible the community can be, and then how to balance it, to fix it. I bet you that's what this is for, and it has nothing to do with bugs. And so I'm not less worried about that, but I think that's going to be more for that. And I almost wonder if, well, I don't think they want to, give the nukes away before the full game is, but I was almost speculating there might be, you might see a nuke go off just to see how easy it would be. Like, I feel like this is going to be more competitive balance.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about it that way, but that's a great point. I think, this might be a little research into, like, how big of jerks people are actually going to be, and finding ways to kind of get around some of that. That's a great point. Graham, what do you think?
Well, I want to bring up a point where we didn't talk about, but I don't remember the company or whatever, but there's a big online game. I'd have to look up the game to know for sure. But remember, they're bringing in like a third party who specializes in this big online world and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that will help them out big time, because the way we're talking about it, we're like Bethesda's on their own. They're like trying to figure this out, but they realize like what they're taking on and how big of a project, and they're like, we need help. So they brought on this company, which I wish I could remember the name of it, because it was in that documentary, was it? I don't
on
remember.
No Clip, yeah.
But you remember the part I'm talking about, right? Where they bring in this huge online game. So they kind of brought in the experts. So it's kind of like not like Bethesda's doing all this stuff on their own and they have no idea what they're doing, and they're like, we'll just figure it out. So I think they've taken the proper steps. Have they taken all the proper steps? Probably not, but I'd want to be optimistic. But I know there is red flags when you see how close to launch. But hey, we'll know soon enough.
We will.
Time flies, and I'll be playing it. And hopefully, I'm not the one breaking it, but hopefully I am.
So Graham, just to wrap this up. How bad would the beta have to be for you to cancel your pre-order of Fallout 76?
I wouldn't cancel it.
Even if the frame rate was like 5?
But, I would say this will be fixed. And
you come up with excuses. I got you.
What's the point for me to cancel it if I'm still going to get it? Because obviously it's not going to stay in the broken state, even if it's that bad of a state. Like they'll resuscitate it and bring it back to life if it's.
Yeah, but why not wait for the game to go cheaper to play it when it's fixed?
No. Graham's.
I know. I'm not arguing with Graham. There's no changing his mind. The game could.
But in defense of Graham, though, if this was Halo, I'd be saying the same thing.
Sure, and same with me and Kingdom Hearts.
So,
you gotta have faith in the name, the product.
Yeah. No, you don't. But
well, I do.
Well, you can, but I don't think this game's gonna come out anywhere close to being a broken mess, Tyler. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, they won't launch the beta if it doesn't work.
It's not gonna be a broken mess. I know. I'm just asking Graham the question just for fun.
Yeah. Well, we knew what his answer would be. So.
So. But real quick note on Bethesda, guys, before we kind of move on, and this might play in a little bit, Graham, to kind of your confidence that this third party is having a lot of impact on Fallout 76. I think they're having some, but maybe not a ton. And we learned this week too that Bethesda is a lot less likely to allow an outside developer to make a Fallout game than they have been in the past. So if you're a fan of Fallout New Vegas, you're probably not going to see anything like that anytime soon.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous because Fallout New Vegas was the best Fallout game.
Ooh. Get
It's
them.
not.
Yeah,
It's
like-
not a. It's not a question. That's fact. Fact.
Let's not start that here.
Yeah.
Let's not, because.
But honestly, I'm not a good one to argue that, but I know there are people out there that will argue that.
Yes.
I don't
and-
count Fallout 1 and 2 because those were, isometric RPGs, not the same. But
Sure.
of the shooters that had, that went first or third person, New Vegas is the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Some people would say Fallout 3.
Steven's going for broke here. He's already gotten some fun feedback about his Bethesda takes, and he is clearly hungry for more. So,
It's funny, though, because I will buy the Elder Scrolls series and the Fallout series day one with the season passes, and 17 times. Well, okay, not Fallout. I'd buy the Elder Scrolls. But it's funny because I get so much, hate coming my way for opinions when I will buy the games day one. I'll be with Grant playing Fallout 76 the day it comes out. So
yeah, and I will too. And the question is, Graham, for me anyway, will it catch me and keep me this time?
I give you
Because-
3 hours of playtime.
Yeah, I know. It's probably about right, but I so badly want to love it. I do, and I just don't. And it's not the game's fault. It's not the game is bad or anything. It's just not for me. But
I'll do my best to make you enjoy it.
okay,
I'll give
I
you all
appreciate
my
that.
armor. I'll give you all my guns. I'll be running out there naked throwing rocks at people. I'm like, Tyler, you better be having fun.
all right. I don't know if the naked part will help, Graham. But
It'll help
yeah.
me.
So, all right. We saw the Olympics earlier this year.
We did.
Those were the Winter Olympics, and the Summer Olympics might soon, well, kind of soon, as in 2024, include video games. So, Stephen, why don't you fill us in a little bit about that?
Yeah, so they, the IOC and another group got together and had a forum at the Olympic Museum in Switzerland, to talk about video games being included in 2024. And they also had video game publishers and stuff like that, and streamers and then actual pro athletes and people across the spectrum to come together in a forum to try to, work together to make this happen. And the speculation is that it'll be more like the FIFA and the NBA games as opposed to your Fortnite or League of Legends. So more of the sports non-violent games with the potential for Rocket League maybe being in there. So don't expect to see Call of Duty in the Olympics. But, FIFA is probably the game that would come first because it's the most mass appeal and it's not violent because, countries have their standards for what can be shown on television. Australia's one of them where games get, censored to high heaven, based on what's in the game. So I can understand why they would choose games like FIFA or Rocket League. But yeah. So I want to see it in the Olympics. I know people are well, it's not an actual sport, but I mean, you could argue that about a couple other things.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, there's some things that people call sports that I don't call sports.
Yeah.
We won't get into that either, but
No, we won't.
excuse me. But yeah, I would say it wouldn't be a real shocker for that to be an Olympics because it is a very competitive, I don't want to say maybe hobby, job. Some people get paid for it and stuff like that. But I say games like Rocket League definitely would appeal to something like that. Like I said, I just don't think they would go into the shooter end of that stuff. But even there's other games that I can't think of right now. But I could see that it is growing more and more popular, video games, podcasts and people streaming. And look at Fortnite for that's a name that's synonymous with as was well known as anything right now. So.
Yep.
That's not a big surprise. It just seems like it's about due time for that to happen now.
Yeah, and I think esports has come a long, long way.
Yeah.
And more than anything else, really, like it's kind of gone from sort of a niche thing that had a hardcore like small following to a thing that a lot of people know about now, and a lot of people have like their favorite players and all that stuff, just like they do in like mainstream sports. But we've come a long way from the days. Do you guys remember the Colin Graham? You won't, but Steven, you might. The Colin Cowherd rant when he was still at ESPN, where where he ranted when he went on this like super long rant about how ESPN was carrying esports on their channel, and he basically said, if they ever asked me to cover that, I would quit on the spot and walk out. It's not a sport, blah 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 blah. This coming, by the way, excuse me, from the channel that carries the World Series of Poker and other stuff like that. And nothing against that, but
I saw cornhole on ESPN2.
Yeah,
being broadcast. I didn't watch it, but I saw my buddy posted a picture of it on Facebook. I mean, come on, like
I'm not even sure what that is.
I like cornhole. It's fun to play when you're drinking in the backyard, but like
it's a backyard. It's a backyard long game, Graham.
Yeah, it's like it's like a mixture of like it's kind of like horseshoes, but it's movable easily.
I mean, that's something that you expect to see on the Ocho, right? And
right.
All that, but no, it's come such a long way. Because now you have major esports teams for so many different games. Like, you've got your heavyweights, like your MOBAs and stuff like that. But now you've got Overwatch, which is huge. You've got Call of Duty, which is still huge. You've got...
CSGO is gigantic.
Yep, CSGO. You've got... individuals, where it's not so much teams but individuals with like Madden and FIFA and stuff like that. And it's just gotten more and more big, and then Fortnite has come on the, onto the scene and kind of taken that by storm. So yeah, there's so many games out there that, it's just growing more and more. And then I think they're looking at, I read something today that shows that like Twitch viewership has been on a steady incline for the last couple years. So, the more and more and more people are just watching other people play video games and enjoying that. And I know people who love doing that.
Yeah, I mean, like when I go get food or I make food or whatever, there are times where I'm like, I don't want to start a TV show and watch for 20 to 40 minutes. Like, I'll go on Twitch and watch chess for, 20 to 40 minutes while I eat. But,
speaking of chess, has chess ever been an Olympic sport? Because I know they've had, like, sports that they've taken away from Olympics, right?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I'm looking it up.
I would say no, like, off the top of my head, but I don't know.
Well, chess is trying to be in the 2020 Olympics, along with bridge. So now we're going way off topic from video games.
Yeah.
In my forte, card games and chess.
And I'm sorry, but if bridge can be an Olympic sport, then so can video games. So
like they have Uno next. Uno competition in Olympics.
So here's the thing: like, is skill a factor in esports? Absolutely. Does even fatigue play a little bit of a factor in esports? Sure. I think it does. So, is that any different than any other sport? Having to adjust and react to your opponent and do different things just because you're not running somewhere or skating or skiing or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, does it mean it's not a sport?
Yeah. Now, what would PEDs be for playing?
Too much Red Bull? Coffee? I don't know.
Yeah, no shit. Like, I mean, there is a limit to the amount you can't drink if you're doing the cross country, the biathlon or whatever, because it lowers your heart rate for shooting. So I could see there being limits on the amount of like caffeine you're in your system or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Back on the real quick. I love my chess, so there is a sport called chess boxing where it's like a round of a boxing match, and then they play a round of like 5 minutes of chess, and then they go back and forth, and you win by either knocking your opponent out or checkmating them. Like either way, whoever, yes, like that would be awesome in the Olympics.
Wow. Now.
I don't want to go too far away from video games. But
yeah,
I think we've done that already. So
I'll quickly say one. There was one, I don't know where it is, but you would play poker inside like a corral with bulls in there. So if you got up off your chair, you would lose. So you'd be playing poker, and these bulls would be like circling you, and they might charge you in the table and stuff like that. But
you mean bulls?
Yeah, bulls.
Like bulls in Spain.
Bulls in Spain.
Like
yeah.
I don't know what bulls are.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what craft dinner is either, but
well, yeah, it's true. Something that weird Canadian.
There's some crazy mishmashes of sports, so I don't know. it's competitive. It's interesting. People will watch it, so why not? Right? Why not?
Well, I mean, would these things continue to grow and you'd see more and more games and things like that if people didn't watch it?
Yeah.
Like in Dallas, they're building like an arena designated for esports.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be on ESPN if they didn't.
Yeah.
Or if they weren't marketable.
Right. And if it wasn't drawing ratings of some sort.
Yeah, I think who was it? It was like a few months ago, maybe even a year ago. There was a fighting game on ESPN, the regular, not ESPN2, like on a Sunday night, and it was the championship. Oh, I think it was Street Fighter. I'm pretty sure the Street Fighter Championship was on ESPN. And I remember tuning in and watching it, and like it was pretty cool to see Street Fighter. I mean, I like watching fighting games. I suck at them, and I don't play them because I suck at them. But I like watching them. It was pretty cool to see it on ESPN.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see, gaming grow and become more mainstream. Because, unfortunately, there's still people out there that, I saw a tweet this week that was like, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was something like, ladies, if you're in a relationship with an adult who plays video games, you need to reevaluate that relationship. Yeah.
I saw that tweet.
I'm like, come on.
Yeah, that's ridiculous these days. Like,
yeah, because what's acceptable? Like, I mean, it's acceptable for people to go to the bar like all the time.
Yeah. And if it's something you're actually making money and making a living and stuff like that, like I don't understand how people can be so close-minded with that.
Well, even that, that argument's so dumb because people sit on their couch from the moment they get home and watch TV for 5-6 hours, sometimes more than that, and that's all they do. Like at least with video games, you have to actively think about what you're doing. So
there's just some people. There's just some people out there that can't get past this idea that video games are for kids.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But it is getting less and less, and with like the popularness of Fortnite, like that helps as well, right? So
yeah, but you know what though? I played baseball as a little kid too, and guess what? Tons of people watch the World Series all the time.
This is
true. Tons of people watch football every week as adults and buy jerseys and all that stuff. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Sports fans and video game nerds have a surprising overlap.
They do,
especially when you get into like fantasy sports. It's the same thing, just in a different.
It kind of is, yeah.
But we're going a little far away from
we are.
Bring it back.
All right, so let's bring it back. So. Let's bring it back by moving on.
Yes.
To Halo Infinite, a game I'm really excited for, even though I don't really know anything about it except that it's a Halo game. But that might not be a Play Anywhere title. Microsoft kind of commented on this week saying they don't know yet. And that's kind of fueled speculation that it either won't be on PC or that the PC release might be later down the road after the console version comes out. So, does it bother you guys at all that it might not be Play Anywhere on day one?
No, but I don't play my PC, so I can imagine some PC players being upset, and rightfully so. Like, they're just annoyed that it's not, day one on the PC.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand why why that is, and it makes me think too, like Play Anywhere and Game Pass. Does that mean there's a chance that it might not be a Game Pass title?
No,
I mean those two things are totally separate, and I think the backlash against Microsoft would be huge.
Yeah.
Yes, they would not. All the good press they've had recently would be go down the drain.
Because I feel if like you've committed to making all your exclusives available on Game Pass, and you're like, well, except for this one, I think that would be the wrong thing.
Yes, and they won't do that. There's no way.
No, and right or wrong, you've conditioned your fans at this point to think that any first-party game is going to be available through that service.
Yeah.
So it's no longer going to, especially by the time Infinite comes out, it's no longer going to be a thing where like people are like, "Oh, cool, that's part of Game Pass." They're going to expect it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
So it's I think it'd be really damaging to them to not do it. So I think it's totally separate things.
Unless Infinite's a next generation game, and they don't have Game Pass on next generation, I don't see why they wouldn't, but you never know.
Yeah, it's possible that it could be next gen only, because I do think it's going to be a launch title for their next console.
Yeah, and then
Project Scarlett.
Do you think Game Pass will still be a thing, or do you think that's just
who knows? It might be a delayed thing. It might be like we'll bring Game Pass in after like 6 months or a year, right? And I could see that happening for sure.
Yeah, they might have like crunched some numbers and like see how profitable it's actually been, or it hasn't really been worth it. So that might be the deciding factor.
And that's their way around it. If they do, if it's a launch title and then they don't bring in Game Pass for 6 months, you'll get it when Game Pass comes, but Game Pass doesn't come for a year or 6 months.
And that's all guessing on our part, right? It's not anything we've read or seen or anything. It's all guessing. But looking into like how the minds of the businessmen work involved in in these boardrooms, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that.
It all comes down to one thing: it's money for them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Hard to blame them, right? It's
business.
If it's not making money, then we're not going to get another console.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was going to say that for the Olympic topic is if it brings money in, they're going to put it on there because if people are watching, it'll make them money.
Yep.
And
there's a reason that went back to this. I don't want to go back to this, but there's a reason that when ESPN airs bowling, it's like, do you know when ESPN airs bowling, Steven?
Yeah, like 7 a.m. my time.
No. It's not actually.
Or middle of the day.
On a certain day. On a certain day of the week. No, I don't watch it all the time, but I watch the show that's on right before it all the time.
Sundays, right?
Sundays, and it's always on right after their NFL preview show.
Oh.
Yeah.
To try to get those people to stay.
No.
Just too lazy to flip the channels.
Well, maybe that, but guess what's on at the same time bowling's on ESPN? Football on every other channel.
Oh, during the year, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking football season. Gotcha.
Yeah. So they they have their pregame, right? What's it called?
Yeah.
NFL what? Sunday Countdown. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. So they have Sunday Countdown, and then it's just assumed that everybody's going to go from Sunday Countdown either to CBS or Fox to watch whatever game they're going to watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so ESPN knows nobody's freaking watching ESPN anymore at noon Central Time on Sundays. So they put bowling on. And that's how I know that bowling's on then, because it's always like, up next is bowling, after Sunday Countdown. And I managed to hear it right before I switched to CBS or Fox. So, but...
So to bring it back, actually, I just thought of something.
Yeah.
It would be a pretty big system mover, wouldn't it? Though, if there were 3 launch titles and all of them were on Game Pass right away, so for $10 a month you got 3 games with the new Xbox, that would sell consoles, wouldn't it? Because you would get people that are like,
and
I could save $180 and still get the three games I want. And I mean, I know I wouldn't get the 3 games on Sony because more than likely it wouldn't be the same games. But like that'd be a big deal. So
here's what you do: you launch, because remember they bought these 5 studios, right?
Sure.
So a couple of those games are probably going to be ready to roll for the launch of this console.
Yes.
And you throw in Halo on top of that, and you're going to have a Forza on top of that, most likely, because they've had a Forza every year for how long. But here's what I would do: I throw into the box a free month of Game Pass, but I make you enter your credit card or sign up for recurring pay or whatever, and then you have to go cancel it after, because some people just forget to do that.
Well, it gets me. It does.
Oh, yep. I know. I've had ESPN the magazine for 2 years longer than I meant because I keep forgetting to cancel.
Well, I was telling somebody today that. So the greatest thing, my debit card expired at the end of June, so I had a new one start at the end of June, beginning of July.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest thing about that is there's all these things that I was paying for monthly that I didn't even know or just totally forgot about. And my bad, because I should be paying more attention to that. But
yes.
but, but there were so many things, and all of a sudden I'm like, I have like $100 more every, 2 weeks than I normally do. Or every month. It was every month. So it's, it was nice, and like I said, my bad, but I think a lot of people are guilty of that, of like signing up for something and then they totally forget and just keep paying it.
Yep.
Because it's only like $10. You
know,
know?
Apple Music is great and stuff like that, but there's sometimes I go months without using it, and there's like $13 just will infinitely keep going.
Well, you know what the greatest like perpetrator that is gym memberships for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like people go sign up for the gym, and then they go, like everybody signs up in like January, right? Most people, or a lot of people, I should say. And then they go for like 2 weeks, and then they stop, and they either don't. There's a couple reasons they don't cancel it. One, they might forget, and 2 might be, well, I'm gonna go back.
Yeah.
They just keep convincing themselves of that.
They feel guilty.
Eventually, yeah. So like canceling the membership is like the ultimate surrender. Right? But at the same time, I think it's sort of the same mentality to a point with any subscription service. It's just like, well, I haven't watched Netflix in a while. Like, I've gone through periods with Netflix where I don't watch it for like a month and a half.
Yeah, same here.
And,
I'm worse with Hulu.
Yeah.
It's like 6 months without going on Hulu.
But I don't cancel it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because
but it's genius.
No.
It's a genius model. Like, it works.
Yes.
Like, I couldn't imagine how much money people, like, have given, like, for all the different services to something that's not being used at all. Like, I couldn't imagine how much money is actually just going, like, being wasted, essentially.
100%.
And that's why, as much as I see some people, like some personalities out there, just ripping subscription models for gaming, and we'll bring it back to gaming here, I promise. But, but as much as I see some people just ripping that model, why wouldn't they do it? It's a proven successful model.
Yeah. And yeah, I have a feeling that the pessimist in me isn't going to win out, and that Halo will, like, Game Pass will come back for the new Xbox, and it'll include like 3 or 4 games right away, and that'll win the console, because you get 4 not free games, but 4 games for 10 as opposed to $240 American, if you're playing on PS4 or PS5.
And I still stand by saying they should throw in a free month of it to start with.
Oh, I think they would.
Yeah,
but
I think they would too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying they might. I mean, who knows? But that would help for sure. For a month, yeah. What you said, for sure.
Cool. Graham, anything else on that?
Well, what I was gonna say too, like we're talking about, like Game Pass. Like, I have Game Pass. I'm pretty sure we all have it. And the only exclusives that came out was Sea of Thieves and State of Decay. Or State of Decay 2. So that wouldn't. It's not a lot. Say I need to have this, but we got it, but there's so much more now that you have access to, and people are like, this is the greatest thing ever. So can you imagine when we get like next 3 like major one, like if Gears and like Halo is like, this is like totally worth it, and then at that point, so I think Game Pass is whatever you say as price, like as long as it's not too ridiculously high, like people are like, okay, well I'm definitely getting Halo and Gears, so I will save this much and I'll have access to so many other games. So I think it's a no-brainer for most people.
A price bump to like 15 for the next generation, maybe even 20, but I'd pay that.
Yeah, I don't know about 20, but maybe 15.
But we would pay it though.
Yeah, I probably.
Yeah, but would a lot of people? Who knows? Let's not go too down the rabbit hole here.
Speculation road.
So, all right. To wrap up news, guys, kind of a cool story, and just something that Microsoft's done really well at and continues to do really well with is their whole like accessibility and inclusion and making gaming available for everyone, right? And we saw the Xbox Adaptive Controller at E3. We saw a lot about it and got nothing but great reviews for the most part. So, cool story this week. When it gets shipped to you, if you order it, the package is actually set up so you can actually open it with your teeth. It's not one of those things like, man, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish that like DVDs and Blu-rays were like this.
Oh man, yeah.
No.
And you got that sticker on like
I've hurt my
the
teeth
side
on
and the
plastic
top
wrap.
and the bottom. It's like, why do you need that many stickers? One would have been good.
But jokes aside, like it's a really cool thing, isn't it? Like that they're putting this much thought into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it is for sure.
That's how you know it's not just a PR thing, like where they just did it for good press, because they actually are thinking about every little thing. I know I've heard complaints that the menu button and the share button are pretty small, but you can plug other things into it, and I feel like they kind of hit it from every angle, and I'd imagine they got feedback from the people that are going to be using this. I'd be hard pressed to say they didn't go that route. I'd imagine they had playtesters from people like they had disabled people using this, or at least in the design time.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic that they're doing it. Like it's a really cool gesture on their part to back up their words, right? Because a lot of companies talk about inclusion. And they talk about all this stuff, and they say all the right things, and then their actions maybe show something a little different. And that's in all, like, kinds of business that are out there, right? So, to see Microsoft do this and actually, kind of put their money where their mouth is really cool. So, good for them and good for the people who are going to benefit by having a product like this. So, anything else, guys, before we wrap up news?
Nope.
We are good.
All right, so that's going to do it for news today, everybody. And let's go ahead and move into releases for the week. We'll start with Xbox. So,
now in stores.
Coming up this week. You can get South Park, The Fractured But Whole, Bring the Crunch DLC on July 31st. You can get #WarGames also on the 31st. And if you are an Xbox One player and you have EA access, you should be able to get your hands on the 10-hour trial for Madden 19 next Friday, August 3rd. So ahead of the release. So in fact, I think it should be that day. And because if you buy the Hall of Fame edition or the other extra edition, whatever it is, I bought the Hall of Fame one. But you get that on the Tuesday, and the standard release comes out on that following Friday the 10th. So I think the 10-hour trial will be there next Friday. So all right, that does it for Xbox this week. Steven, what do you have for PlayStation?
All right, all 3 games are on the 31st. You got Chasm, Anamorphine, and Castaway Paradise. And then you only have a few more days, but you can pick up Heavy Rain and Absolver as PS Plus games. Graham with Nintendo.
For Nintendo, Tyler said South Park, Fractured But Whole, Bring the Crunch, well, that game is also on Nintendo Switch, and you can get that on the 31st. Also, you can get Crush Your Enemies, which I do in NHL, which not really, but I like to think so.
Yeah, not really.
And the third game is Salt and Sanctuary. And both Crush Your Enemies and Salt and Sanctuary will be available on the 2nd of August.
Cool.
That's it.
That's it for releases. Steven, let's head into questions.
Fan
What do we
mail.
have this week?
All right. First question from Brian Richland on Facebook asks, where do you rank this generation of consoles against others?
Man.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
It is tough.
And I was thinking about it today after I saw the question. And, man, I just keep... Like, I love a lot of the games we've gotten this generation, and I love a lot of the advances in the technology that we've gotten. But I don't think I've ever had any more fun playing than when I had my 360. And I just miss that. I miss, like, I used to be super into achievements and stuff like that, and now I just don't care.
Yeah.
And I try out and play a lot of different games, and I still kind of do that now. I do, but it's I don't know. It just doesn't feel quite the same. I just kind of miss that 360 PS3 generation. And you can go back further than that to other generations that were awesome too, like PS2. But yeah, for me, it would be that 360 PS3.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have the 64, the N64, or anything before that. So I'm starting just in the last 3 generations, which is like the GameCube, like PlayStation 2, Xbox era, and then last generation, this generation. And I agree with Tyler. Last generation was the best so far. I can't decide if I think this is better than the Xbox, GameCube, PS2 era or not as good. I kind of flip-flop. Like, the advance in, like, technology and how amazing games look and play, like, is awesome now. But some of the gems from that early generation, like, so I'd tie it. I'd call it a tie. But I do think last generation is ahead of this one.
Okay, for me, it's kind of tough as well. Like, the systems came out as of late. They're basically the same kind of design with controller and stuff like that. Just the graphics get better and the games are better and stuff like that. So if I had to pick like a generation of games that was, or like console where it's like, wow, that's like mind blowing. Because this stuff now, it doesn't really blow my mind now. It's like, yeah, that's better and yeah, that's cooler and stuff like that. But it would be the Nintendo 64. Like, when it went into actually, like, 3D world, like, run around, like, GoldenEye and when Super Mario 64, when I witnessed that for the first time, where it's not just, like, flat 2D and stuff like that, that to me was, like, wow. Like, I didn't even really know what was going on. I'm like, this is, like, real life, even though it's, like, cartoony and pixelated and all that stuff. But to me, that's what I remember of just being like, this is really cool. And GoldenEye on Nintendo 64 was an amazing game, especially playing like multiplayer where you had like the split screen with 4. That was so much fun. That is what I would go with.
Okay.
All
right. Piracy, next question asks, besides Fortnite, what video game does everyone love, or a video game series, does everyone love that you don't? And I'll start.
Sure.
And it's anything by Naughty Dog. Because I'm not an Uncharted fan, and I didn't like The Last of Us gameplay. And, you know, there, again, Steven with the V. But
the Gaming Hub Podcast at gmail.com, everyone.
I've tried to get into those games. I just don't like them. I think the gameplay, which is the key feature of gaming, is not very good. And that is where I like the gunplay. I like the exploration in the Uncharted games, but the gunplay is always what kills me.
Not very good for you, right?
Well, it's just not very good in general.
Oh,
but
come on now. Now this is why you're gonna get emails.
It's not. There's so many games that have good gunplay, and then if you play the Naughty Dog games, you realize how not good they are compared to that. But all right, fine. To me, I don't enjoy their gameplay, at least the gunplay. So again, Steven with a V.
Graham?
Okay, for me, now the question says, what game does people love that you don't? So this is not hate, because I do not hate this game, because I can't even say I've played enough to hate it. But even what I've played of it, I didn't hate it, so I don't hate it. So don't think I hate the game. But I know how much you guys love Red Dead Redemption, and you guys keep talking about it and talking about it, and I don't doubt that it's not a great game, but I don't love it, because maybe if I play it through, maybe I'm like, I love this game. But I know this is a game that you guys love, and I can't say I love this game because I don't really know it, so I don't love it.
Because you've never given it a chance, okay? It's
true. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Send your hate to mail to Steven, not to me.
Well, Graham, in retaliation for that...
Yep, let's hear it.
I know your answer too, Tyler.
So I'm gonna say 3 series. And this is gonna strike in Graham's soul. So the first one is The Witcher. I know it's great. I just don't love it. It's okay. Like, I know the game's great. It deserved to win Game of the Year.
No.
But not for me. Okay? Second one, Fallout.
Oh. Two blows. No more.
So
no more.
Oh no, I saved the best for last, Graham. Hang on. Okay, so I love Bethesda as a developer, and I've really enjoyed some of the games that they have made. I don't love how, just for me, I don't love how they do shooting. And it's a bit of a turnoff, and I don't like crafting a lot of stuff and all that. So there's that. And the third one, Graham, is The Legend of Zelda. I can't. I'm sorry. It's, I'm going to say it. To me, it's overrated. And I know that is blasphemy in gaming circles.
That's Tyler spelled,
I feel so weak.
So,
man, we're going to have a full inbox after this episode.
Yeah, probably. But
that's like almost 3 of my top games or franchises.
But, so there, say some more about Red Dead, Graham, and I'll bring some more out. We'll talk about NHL, and we'll talk about some other stuff you like.
Easy.
We'll talk about Chow.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go into a more positive question. From Crazy Gamer, asked, what game that is coming out are you guys most excited about? So I took this as 2 ways, so we're going to answer both. What game that you know is coming out that was like announced at E3?
Like we have a date for, right?
Yeah. Well... No. What games that you don't know, like when the date is, but you've announced and you've seen video game trailers, and then what game's coming out by next E3? Okay, like, we'll go with that. So there's two questions to answer.
Okay, so I'll go first. The one where we have a date and we know, Graham, you might have heard of it. It's called Red Dead Redemption 2.
I heard something about that.
Hashtag Game of the Year 2018, but. And it might win. Who knows? But I still say Skull and Bones for me, for the one that we don't have a concrete release date yet.
I mean, we kind of do. We have
a window like they say 2018, but it's Ubisoft and it's only been delayed once.
That's true. I'll give you credit.
There's like 2 or 3 more to go. But...
All right, so I'll go next.
All right.
Game that we have a concrete release date is Kingdom Hearts 3, no doubt, not even close. And then game that we don't have a release date is definitely Cyberpunk 2077. I am so pumped and hyped for that game that it's almost scary because I'm like worried that I'm gonna hype it up so much that by the time it comes, it's just not gonna reach what I expect. But I don't even know what I expect. I just expect to have my mind blown. So maybe that's a
Steven, it's gonna be like the Star Wars prequels, man, for you. You're gonna build it up so much.
I hope not.
And then it's gonna Phantom Menace you. And
actually, Kingdom Hearts 3 could do that as well because I've hyped that game for a long time too. So this could just be, a couple years of just shattered hopes and dreams.
Yeah, Steven, I heard Elsa was in that game.
Yeah, she is. She is.
More inside jokes. They're the best.
Graham.
All right.
I guess we'll allow you to speak your opinion.
These are tough questions.
Graham's answer is Death Stranding.
Yeah.
No.
Because we'll complete the email's vicious circle here and have Graham go on a Death Stranding rant again.
Neither one of you guys said Death Stranding, so yeah. So the game that I know, like a release date when it's coming out. Oh man, that's tough. I'm gonna actually throw out something that you guys probably not expecting, but I'm gonna go with Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Okay.
No, I fully expected
I knew you were gonna say that.
What? I thought you guys figured out to say Fallout 76.
No, because you like you're loyal to Fallout 76, but man, you go gaga over Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
You know me better than I thought you did.
I agree.
Okay, and well, the thing too, it's a trilogy. It's completing the story. Like, I love Fallout, but this is a different type of Fallout game. This is like an online. Yeah. People can make it a terrible experience. So I'm not gonna say this is gonna be the greatest thing or it's gonna be the worst thing in my life. So I don't want to put that up there because I don't want to be knocked down. So I'm gonna play it safe. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and the one coming out in the future. Oh, that's a tough one as well. I'm gonna go with, and I could change my mind later, because Cyberpunk is. Now I'm gonna go with Cyberpunk. Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I love The Witcher 3, and if it's anything like, I know it's gonna be great.
I agree.
Okay.
Next question from J Pole asks, "What is a game series that you have always wanted to play and get into, but just haven't gotten around to?"
Yeah, I'll go. I'll say the original Mass Effect trilogy.
Yes.
Like, I tried Andromeda, and that might have ruined it all for me.
Yeah. Don't. It's so much better. And I haven't played much of Andromeda, so I can't really defend Andromeda, but I don't think I would anyways.
Yeah.
But the trilogy, I really enjoyed it, Tyler.
Yeah.
And for you being like a Star Wars guy, like, I don't know, like, you meet these different species and the other stories, and like, I enjoyed it.
That's another one, actually, I could say, is Knights of the Old Republic.
I think it's a little past.
Yeah, I know. I think don't you think, like, your opinion, Steven, because I know you played it. Like, don't you think if I played it now, I wouldn't appreciate it as much as I would have? Like,
yes.
Back in the day? Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
The gameplay, it's dated. I mean, that's just how it is.
And I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan. And
also, there's crafting, so.
Oh, God. It's like Zelda all over again.
Not even really crafting in Zelda. It's just,
yeah, I was just saying.
Cooking.
I'm not sure what he's talking about there.
I'm just kidding, Graham. I'm not kidding about Zelda, but like the
listen, we'll have a talk later.
I know.
I'll give you my resignation. No,
okay.
A game series. I have played it, but I haven't finished it or put enough time into it, and I like to play the past entries, and that will be the Elder Scrolls. Like, even like up to Skyrim. I played a little bit, but I would like to get into it, complete it, know the whole story and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I do own 4 versions of it, I'm pretty sure. I haven't counted. I don't have it on Alexa because I don't own Alexa. But, and it is Bethesda, so I know it's amazing, and Steven tells me it's amazing. But I don't know. I start it, and then I just disappear from it. But I thought that was, like, one of the most beautiful games I played, like, watching, like, dragons flying around and giants walking and mammoths, like, next to them. Like, some of those screenshots are just breathtaking.
Graham, I know a series you should get into.
What's that?
Kingdom Hearts.
No.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, Graham. All right. Well, I'll give my answer now.
Yeah.
Mine would be the Yakuza games.
Okay, yeah.
The only reason I haven't is because they're just so big, and I don't know. There's just reasons I don't get into them. But those are one series I've always thought about trying. Especially considering like Yakuza 0 is now like that PS like greatest hits, PS3 or PS4 greatest hits. So you can get them for like $20, like both Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami, I think, or Yakuza 6. Two of the Yakuza games are on there, but I still don't. I think I'd buy it and sit on my shelf for weeks. So that's kind of the reason I haven't bought it. That's what would happen.
Okay.
All right. So we got time for one more?
One more quick one. Yep.
All right. Let's see. This one might be quick. Riley Clark asked, what was the first game you played that made you realize video games were a medium for art and not just for entertainment?
I'm going to have to think on this one for a second. Graham, I nominate you to go first.
No, I nominate Steven.
I'll go first. So, as much as I just kind of pooped on the game, like 4 questions earlier, mine might be The Last of Us. I understood that the story was really good. The gameplay didn't hook me. And I've said it before, I would prefer it as a TV show / movie. I think it would have been more enjoyable to me that way than the game. Other than that, a game that I actually have played to, not completion, I don't finish games, but to really far into the game would be The Witcher 3. And there was some great stories, and they did nuance well, which is saying something because games tend to not do nuance. And The Witcher 3 had nuance, and that's what made it kind of more art, art as opposed to entertainment.
Not to like nitpick, but this says like the first game you played that made you realize. It wasn't until The Witcher 3 you realized that video games was like an artistic way of expression.
I never thought about it. So thinking back, I can't think of any game like even Halo. Like nothing was. It was special as a game, like just for the advance in gameplay as opposed to story. Like there's nothing to me special about the Halo story. Yeah, that's why I'd say The Witcher.
Okay, I got my answer. My answer is, actually, I was thinking another one came up, but I'll say this one first. One I thought it was is Fable 2. The part you express yourselves, and there's like a story, and I thought that was really like neat how like you like hold up trophies and you try to get a plot and. Just like the art direction, like the story and the mythicalism and stuff like that, like that's that, and like Resident Evil 4 when I realized like how like terrifying and like stuff that goes into like the atmosphere that it can create and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's my answer.
You know, for me, like I'm trying to think like way back. But the reality is kind of like Steven, like, you know, going back into the, you know, the 90s and even into the early part of last gen, like most of the games I played were like sports games or shooters. And it was in last gen, the 360, where I really kind of broadened those horizons and played all sorts of different types of games. So I'll say... I hate to piggyback on you, Steven, but The Last of Us, absolutely.
Yeah, and someone in our chat said BioShock. If you didn't see that, that's another one. I could see that.
Like
too.
that, absolutely. But I don't want to like answer BioShock for everything like this because it's one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah,
maybe my favorite game of all time. But yeah, that absolutely as well.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna throw honorable mention out to an indie game. Actually, 2 of them. One's really well known, and the other one maybe not quite so much. The one that's really well known is Ori and the Blind Forest.
I'd say Limbo before that, but
yeah, Limbo and Inside actually, both of those.
Well, Limbo came out first.
Right.
Both those games. That's right.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But the other one is a game called Valiant Hearts, which is current gen, but it's like a World War I story. and man, it's powerful. Like, the ending of that game is really powerful and really good. So I think indie games generally do a better job at the like art type of thing, and like the in terms of like having this deep complex story that makes you get the feels.
Yeah.
You know, more than the AAA games do.
Yeah, and nitpicking here with Graham, because he nitpicked me. Like, I'd argue games didn't really have good stories until last gen and towards the middle to end of last gen. Like, before that, it was all your typical, like, go save the princess or go save the princess in a different way. Shoot these enemies to go save the princess, like Resident Evil 4 or Mario.
Kill the bad guys.
But I think we're looking at art as in like different perspectives.
I don't mean art as in like the visual art. I mean like art as like the story, like movies are art or books are art.
Yep.
Like art just doesn't mean pictures. I'd say
to me, Graham,
package.
To me, Graham, art is something that moves me in some way.
Yeah, and Fable 2 was fun, but it didn't move me at all. And Resident Evil 4 was fun, didn't move me at all. So like that's why
like,
that
you were
mean,
like creeped out and like
But Steven, that doesn't mean that it's not, though, because it might for Graham and it might not for you, right?
Well, that could be. But, you don't give me crap for not thinking that games...
I wouldn't give you crap, but I was thinking you were thinking, like... Because The Witcher 3 is, like, one of the best stories I've ever seen in a video game. Yep. But that's not, like, the first time I ever, like, realized, like, video games is art. Like, you could even argue way back to Mario Brothers, like... The art, like all that stuff, like video games is a form of art right from the get-go.
Sure. I think anything that makes you feel
like,
something is art.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's like even if my feeling is I want to turn this off, like Zelda. But
the question specified art versus entertainment, and you could enjoy playing Mario but not be moved. That story is not anything special. I mean, in my opinion, like I don't like Kingdom Hearts. I guess actually, now that I think about it, was another game that actually like had a moving story. But again, maybe it's more nostalgia now that I'm playing it now and remembering it back rather than the story actually being moving. So I don't know if I can answer that question like that. But
so guys, we're already over on time. So I hate to move us along. This is a great discussion, but we got to get going. So that's going to do it for questions this week, everybody. Thank you so much for signing them in. We appreciate that. Steven, one more thing to announce before we do all the wrap-up stuff, and that's our winner of our July giveaway.
Yes, our winner is Nick Peterson. So congratulations. Send one of us a message to claim your prize.
All right.
Congrats.
So congrats, and thanks to everybody who sent in questions and took part in the conversation on both Facebook, Discord, and wherever else you did. We really appreciate that. It helps make the community great. So appreciate everything everybody does to help make the community grow and get better every day. So with that, we invite you to join the community. Go to Facebook, the Gaming Hub forums. Go to Twitch. Look up TXH Gaming Hub. Just like the people watching us right now on Twitch did. Hit that follow button. And if you choose, first, you can click on a link for Discord from either of those places and join our Discord group. And if you choose to support us, support the show and the community, you can do that either through Twitch by subscribing. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free sub to use every month. We'd appreciate more than you know if you used it for us. If not, use it on somebody. Or at Patreon, patreon.com/gaminghub. And if you sign up for as little as $2 a month, you'll get access to extra episodes that are timed exclusive for patrons. And if you go $5 or more, you'll be entered for a $60 game giveaway every single month. And at $10 or more, you get a t-shirt and or a mug mailed straight to you the second month that you're in at that level. So with that, we're going to get out of here, everybody. This has been episode number 113 of the Gaming Hub, and we'll be back next week with episode number 114 for Graham, who, by the way, is going to be on assignment. Actually, not on assignment, just on vacation.
Yes.
For a few weeks. Graham's going home to Newfoundland, so say goodbye, Graham, to everybody for a few weeks.
Goodbye, everybody, for a few weeks.
All right.
I look forward to still communicating with you guys in the community. I will still be active, just not on the podcast, unless some miracle happens and I appear on it, which probably won't happen.
All right. But Graham, we want you to go and have a good time because you guys don't know. Graham sleeps like, 45 minutes a night for about 320 days a year. And then
That's right.
and then he goes home to Newfoundland and then he comes back and he sounds like a different person.
I get re-Newfoundized.
Yeah. That's now a word. All right.
It is.
All right.
So, well, bye, everybody.
Yeah, for Graham and Steven, I'm Tyler saying thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, everybody, have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, everyone.